Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Yo, Mike.
What's up, bro?
Do you think this Dustin Poirier Eddie Alvarez thing is over finally?
Maybe, because Eddie Alvarez may not sign with the UFC. He fought out his contract, so...
Ooh, this is going to get interesting. Man, that fight was intense, and I think it, in my opinion, closed the door on the Dustin Poirier Eddie Alvarez thing forever. Dustin Poirier is better.
He very well could be, man. We're going to talk about that. UFC Calgary, PFL 5 going down, as well as one of the most anticipated rematches of the year. TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, UFC 227 is finally here. We'll talk about all that and more, but first... we appreciate all the love and support, guys. If you don't know by now, we are the guys from the Did You See That Mixed Martial Arts podcast. I am Mike Strauss, a.k.a. Strauss21. That is Apollo Taj Mahal. Together, we do this damn thing. We appreciate all the love and support. Keep it coming. Whatever platform you're listening to us on, just keep doing it, whether it's Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, whatever it may be. Just keep doing it. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe and share as well. All of that helps, guys. If you want to get more intimate, shoot me an email, Mike at didyousseethatshit.com. And we are active on social media too, aka Strauss21. And you can find my man at
Apollo T. Mahal. Also, huge shout out to anybody who comes out tomorrow. Actually, this is coming out tomorrow. So tonight at the Comedy Shrine, I will be in Naperville at the Comedy Shrine right behind the Fox Valley Mall at 8 o'clock. It is a free show, comedy competition. I won it last time. Let's see if I can do it again. All right, let's get to this shit.
And that's Illinois, fools.
Oh, yeah, that's in Illinois.
Okay, UFC Calgary. We mentioned Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez. You believe the rivalry's finally closed now. Kind of controversial. Eddie Alvarez had a few more moments in this fight where you can kind of question whether or not he's a dirty fighter. I mean, the first fight ended with that questionable knee, and then now in the rematch, not only did Eddie Alvarez grab the cage more than once, he gouged Dustin Poirier's ear, and the coup de grace was the illegal 12-6 elbow, which led to referee Mark Goddard standing them up, and subsequently about 30 seconds later, Eddie Alvarez was looking at the rafters because Poirier had just bum rushed him.
I'm going to give a huge round of applause to Mark Goddard, even though Uzma kind of went at him and then got schooled.
He did.
That was kind of hilarious. Man, this fight, as much as everybody wants to argue, Joe Rogan, whoever wants to argue, 12-6 elbows are stupid. We should have them in the fight. I believe so, too. Doesn't matter. They're illegal. They are illegal. You are not allowed to throw them. So you should not be throwing them. On top of that, you should not be grabbing the fence, and you should not be gouging people's ears. I do not consider Eddie Alvarez a dirty fighter at all. I consider him a very good fighter, someone I've been a huge fan of. But, man, you did some dirty stuff, and then you got knocked out for it.
Yeah, you know, I've always been a huge Eddie Alvarez fan, even way before he was in the UFC. But you know what? At this point, you kind of got to say he is a dirty fighter, because at least he's a dirty fighter when he is opposite Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Because 2 fights, 4 dirty fouls. I mean, come on. That, to me, is a dirty fighter. He is a veteran in every sense of the word. He knows the rules.
And he should be following. Yeah, he did break them, and he paid for them. He honestly did. And then he wanted to complain about getting stand up. You can't do that kind of stuff and then get upset that you lose a dominant position. And Dustin Poirier, please stop trying to get jumping guillotines.
How about Jose Aldo? What he was able to do against Jeremy Stephens. I picked Stephens to win this fight.
I picked him too.
And I thought it would go kind of how it did. I thought Stephens would be able to lure Jose into a slugfest. But I didn't think Jose would be able to finish Stephens.
No.
And there was a point in that fight where Stephens had him rocked.
Yeah.
Which was, to me, what was the most impressive thing, because Jose has been rocked before and hasn't shown the ability to recover.
No.
And you can argue that no one hits harder at 145 than Jeremy Stephens. And he recovered. He recovered quickly. Jose Aldo is not dead and gone in this featherweight division by any stretch of the imagination, man.
It's very scary to see a guy who, one, has the technique to be one of the best in the world.
He is the best in the world.
And the
right?
best
at
in the world.
145. All-time greatest.
Yeah, all-time greatest at that weight. But now he's showing that he still has that heart to be the best in the world, which is scary. Jeremy Stephens, there's no fault. I saw a lot of people kind of going at him on social media. You get hit with a body shot like that and don't crumble.
Well, I wrote a piece on this. Actually, I just wrote like the 5 biggest takeaways on Low Kick from UFC Calgary, and one of them was that Jeremy Stephens is just a slightly better Justin Gaethje. That's all he is. He's slightly more technical than Justin Gaethje, but he's that same throw caution into the wind slugfest fighter.
And when you do that, this is what happens. This can happen.
He'll beat everybody except for the elite of the elite. Just like Stephens, just like Gaethje. They're a very similar style of fighter. Yeah. I think what Jeremy Stephens has been able to do, how he's been able to turn his career around at this point, 15 years in, is remarkable. But he can only go so high being that style of fighter. And hey, hats off to him because I love him. I love the style of fighter he is. But, they only go that far, man.
It's over with the UFC of getting sluggers to win titles. That era of the UFC, I'm sorry, it's over. It's over, and that sucks. But it is the truth because you need a lot more than that, than just being able to throw caution in the wind and slug it out with people to be a champ.
Speaking of champs, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she got back on the winning path. She ran through Tisha Torres, totally dominated the fight, man.
Her wrestling.
She's so hard to take down.
She is so hard to take down. I give her massive props. I don't give her props on anything she said after the fight or the way she's talking.
See, I love it.
I don't. Yeah. It's cringeworthy to me.
I almost wore her shirt today, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I was listening to her, and I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but
I dig it.
I do hope she does go up to 125, though. I would love to see her against Valentina Shevchenko. They've had kickboxing fights in the past. Shevchenko apparently has her number when it came to the kickboxing fights.
Yeah.
So I would like to see her there. She is a very big 115-pounder. So
I don't want to see her there. Everybody keeps saying 125. I don't. I believe she is on the bigger side for 115, but I think that she is, if you look at her frame, she is not big enough to compete with those girls at 125. Shevchenko is a monster.
She is so scary.
She is so much thicker and stronger than Joanna. I think if she does that, she's really setting herself up to not be as good as she is at strawweight. I just don't see it. But I definitely think that I want to see Rose and her for the third time. There's no other fight that I want to see in that
I don't want to see it right now. I want Rose to fight somebody else and then come back to that. It will just build up more hype. There's enough time where they can both get a fight in.
How about UFC newcomer? Well, not too much of a newcomer. He made his second UFC fight in Calgary. Alex Hernandez. Told you, the kid is for real.
Yeah,
he ran through OAM. The kid's mind is what sets him apart. I really think he's going to be special. I think he's a few years away from that, and he's self-admitted he's about 2 or 3 years away. The thing I like about the kid is not only does he have the mental aptitude to really take him far in this sport, but he's not delusional. He knows he's a few years away. So I really think he is the perfect combination of talent, crazy, and everything for this sport. So watch out for him.
Last person that we had a conversation with, that you had a conversation with, that has said that they are 2 to 3 years away was Curtis Blades. And this guy kind of, with him saying that, I believe it. He is 2 to 3 years away of being the one of the best in the world.
We had a chance to speak with Casey Halstead. And if you're scratching your head right now trying to figure out who that is, I will tell you, chances are you've seen him several times cornering one of your favorite fighters. He is the owner and operator of 10th Planet Las Vegas and about a dozen others. Not only is he a brilliant jiu-jitsu mind, he has one of the best life philosophies. Here's our conversation with Casey Halstead. I want to welcome Casey Halstead to the show for the very first time. He is the owner and operator of 10th Planet in Las Vegas, and I see that you own about a dozen other ones there too, huh?
Yeah, I'm up to, partial ownership of some, but we got about 9 total now.
Very cool, man. Now, how did you get into that? I mean, I assume you were probably just a student, or how did that work?
Well, yeah, I started, as a kid, lifelong martial artist, karate, wrestling growing up. And then I was part of a jiu-jitsu academy that was kind of old school, and we were bound by tradition, and innovation was frowned upon. And obviously, when I started, there was no YouTube, and a lot of things were hard to come by. Technique was very hard to come by. So we were exposed to Eddie Bravo's books back in the day, and we would find little times in training to just kind of, when the instructor would turn his back and we'd start working some rubber guard stuff, my partner and I, Ron Turner. And as time went on, I started realizing that innovation was key, and a lot of jiu-jitsu was being held back because of tradition, trying to honor the ones that came before us, and I think there's a balance. You need to honor jiu-jitsu, but you also need to innovate. So it was a natural progression for me. I ended up leaving that academy and kind of going out on my own and training a bunch of places, and that's where I ended up meeting up with some 10th Planet guys, and then I decided to go straight to the source and start training with Eddie. And to make a long story short, we opened up 10th Planet Costa Mesa with Eddie's blessing, and the rest is history from there.
It really is history, man. You've been doing so well for yourself, man. So many fighters are just, you are really truly grooming so many fighters. I saw that. Were you in New York last week with Lance Palmer?
Yes, I was. I've been working with Lance Palmer for a few months now. He's been doing his camps out here in Vegas, and I started working with Joe Benavidez, and Joe Benavidez and Lance Palmer were teammates at Alpha Male, and now they're both doing their camps here in Vegas, and we just hit it off. And yeah, so I've been working with him. I'm happy because it's one of those relationships where, like, technically I'm the coach, but I feel like I get more out of the relationship than he does, because every time we get on the mats, I mean, the dude wrestled, he was a 4-time state champion in Ohio. He's an All-American at Ohio State, runner-up for a national title. I mean, this dude is a grappler since he was 9 years old. So I'm learning more from him. So it's equally beneficial, to say the least.
Yeah, Lance is a super good dude, man. He's been on the show several times. He's a just amazing competitor, and he looked phenomenal in his last outing at the PFL. And I got to say, man, maybe you had something to do with him sinking in that late choke, huh?
Well, I mean, I was telling him short time, if that means I had something to do with it. But yeah, he likes to get the one boot, the bottom hook, and then pull the hip in one direction and the head in one direction, a lot like a twister, kind of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so he was actually looking for the real rear naked choke, trying to get it clean. And when he heard that we had short time, he was like, all right, I'm just going to crank this guy and see if I can get the tap. But taps come hard. When you're fighting tough guys that don't want to lose, sometimes it's hard to catch them. And his opponent was definitely being very conservative on the ground, and it took until almost the last 30 seconds of the fight to actually get the finish. But we're happy he did. He got his 5 points. He secured the number 2 spot, the number 2 seed, and moves on into the next round.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait too, because I don't think Lance has ever looked better, man. It's truly a great story, and I'm so happy that he's just finally getting his due. I was looking at taking a look at your Facebook page here before we had this conversation, and I saw that one of the posts that you had about, it was a gentleman explaining why working a job you hate is basically wasting your life. And I watched that video, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything. And for people that don't know what we're talking about, for people that are working a job that they can't stand, just what words of advice would you give to them? Because you, by all accounts, are living your dream, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of, I like to call myself a human development coach before jiu-jitsu coach. One of the pillars that I set up is first it's creating culture, then team, then teaching people how to live, and then teaching people how to do jiu-jitsu. That's kind of my approach to everything. And luckily for me, I was able to start to realize these things early in life. I actually retired from a full-time job when I was 40 years old. And so my wife is an attorney, and I was working for a major oil company. And together, and then plus we had the gyms. So I was building these gyms while we're working, and eventually those gyms became viable enough to support the family. We were living in Orange County, California, but at some point, it literally, I made a shift where it was like we were making this ridiculous amount of money, but the amount of time that I was spending away from the family and away from my students, it was just too much. So basically, like 3 years ago, we literally both quit our jobs and we moved to Vegas. And a lot of people feel like they're stuck in these positions in life where they're miserable and they're unhappy, and I like to challenge that, especially with my students. I think the first thing you can do is you can start to lean out your finances, and you can do that today. You can start right now the easiest way to do it is to look at all of your subscriptions. Get all your subscriptions, put them in a bucket, and cancel them all. Netflix, cable, and you're going to find that the more of those subscriptions that you cancel, you're going to end up with a lot more free time. And in that free time, so you're saving money, which is making you less of a slave to your job. Then you're creating free time, which will allow you to create and try to find a hustle. So now you're not underneath all these bills, right? So you're going to get rid of the subscriptions, and then you need to make a change. You need to start looking at, instead of looking at a pair of shoes, a pair of Jordans, oh man, that's $130. I look at it like, how much do I make per hour? Let's just say you make minimum wage, like $10 an hour. To buy a pair of Jordans, that's 13 hours that you need to spend of your time for those pair of shoes. And when you start rationalizing your purchases like that, then you start leaning out your overall expenditures. And once you find this room inside of your finances, and then you can create a hustle with the free time, then that hustle hopefully will grow to the point where it becomes viable enough for you to leave. That's what I did. I didn't know that consciously. I was just kind of soul searching, and it just kind of happened for me. I was really lucky. But man, once you take charge of your life and you realize that you only get one shot at it, and making moments and creating memories with your friends and family is the most important thing, way more than money. You gotta switch the importance from money to relationships and times. And if you can do that, I think the sky's the limit. I think if you love rock climbing and you really love it and you know a lot about it and you immerse yourself in it, there's a living there. You can make it. You just have to change your idea of what your life, the way we grew up, our life was supposed to be house, picket fence, 2 cars, retirement, pension, this and that. But we're finding out now with the internet and people being so connected that there's 1,000,001 ways to live a good life, and you should definitely not sell your time for money, for sure.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. Just touching on what you said there. I mean, for the rock climber, the person that loves it and wants to do it, someone's going to teach it, right? Might as well be you. I truly appreciate you doing this, man, because I agree with you on so many more levels besides just the mixed martial arts. I think that your life philosophy is 100% accurate, and I just truly appreciate you taking some time with me today, especially considering the obstacles that we had of work around. But we did, and I'd love to have you back on the show too in the future, buddy.
Anytime, just let me know. We'll try to coordinate and make it happen for sure.
Thank you so much, Casey Halstead. I appreciate it, sir.
I appreciate you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go. Very cool guy. Can't wait to have him back on the show. And as you heard there, man, he was in Palmer's corner for the last PFL event. And, he wouldn't say that he had something to do with that choke, but I don't know. You might think he did.
I think he did, definitely.
Another PFL fighter fighting tonight, or whenever you're listening to this, at PFL 5, Brandon the Bull Halsey. He's fighting Vinny Magalhaes. We had a chance to catch up with him before his fight. Here's a conversation with Brandon Halsey. I want to welcome Brandon the Bull Halsey to the show for the very first time. Has a big fight coming up here, man. He's 31 years old. He's 11-3. And his last fight at PFL 2 here in Chicago, he beat Shlamana Rama. What's going on, man?
Not much. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's short notice. I'll be quick for you here. But the last time you fought in Chicago, you looked phenomenal, man. I mean, I can't tell you. I think the commission here in Illinois, obviously, they got that wrong. But nonetheless, you got the win. You move on, and you're fighting Vinny Magalhaes here soon. What are you kind of doing to prepare for Vinny's jiu-jitsu? I mean, you don't plan on the fight taking place on the ground, do you?
We've prepared for it. Me and Antonio have gone over, position after position. And with my strong wrestling base, you don't see Vinny really correct that problem as long as we keep our position and keep strong. So we're comfortable wherever the fight goes.
Absolutely, man. I mean, as I said, you looked phenomenal in your last fight here in Chicago. What has joining a team like the Body Shop, man? You look like a totally new fighter. Has it given you like renewed life?
Oh yeah. I was coming off, Bellator at 185, moving up to 205, and joined the Body Shop last June. It's the best thing for me because Antonio McKee is able to take a wrestler and really transition him into an MMA fighter, which my old trainers weren't doing that before. They're trying to teach me how to fight kickboxing. And like I said, I'm not a kickboxer. I'm a wrestler that's turning into an MMA fighter. And he's able to see that and develop it.
For sure. I don't know how that you ever made 185 pounds, because seeing you in person, you are a big 205 pounder. And when I say big, I mean you're very heavily muscular. The move to 205, what has that done for your game? Because obviously you look like you are carrying much more power. But besides that, what else has it done?
It's just life in general. I mean, it was miserable cutting down in weight. I was walking on 225, I'm cutting 50, 40 pounds. It's taxing on me and my life. We had to focus a lot of my training on me cutting weight and doing that around, especially the last month of training. So a lot of it was taken away from doing technique and really focusing on developing me rather than trying to cut weight. So moving up to 205 is giving me a lot more energy, a lot more explosion. I don't have to worry about cutting weight as much, and I'm able to focus more on my training.
For sure. And I've long said that I believe Antonio McKee is one of the, if not the best coach in the game. And I'm so happy now that the Body Shop is starting to produce guys, and people are starting to actually take notice now. And of course, you're a big part of that, man. You know, Vinny Magalhaes is a guy that was thought to be, when he kind of broke into the sport, he had this a lot of hype around him. You know, he's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu practitioner, but there is holes in his game. Do you like to watch film on fighters, or do you just leave that to your coach?
Usually, I used to leave that to my coach if they recommend, hey, you should see this or whatever. I don't like to dig too deep into it. I just, as long as even back in wrestling, I didn't watch really that much film on my opponents, but I just relied on my coaches to kind of put me in the positions I need to be in and execute a game plan. So, I have faith in Mickey, and when he watched film on him and told me what to do, and we've done over it 100 times in practice, I feel like I'm good to go.
For sure. Well, I always like to give you guys a few minutes here at the end to shout out your coaches, sponsors, training partners, whatever you'd like, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I'm going to give out props to Antonio McKee, coach and trainer. Put me in a position where we could dominate. My fight management, Dave Thomas at TNT Fight Management. Sponsors Maduro Life, Scott's program. So I appreciate everybody that's supported me.
Well, I appreciate your time, Brendan. You have a huge fight coming up here. Going to be taking on Vinny Magalhaes August 2nd. Thanks for your time, Brendan.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, brother. All right, the thing I like about Brandon is ever since he's been training with the Body Shop and Antonio McKee, his career has just skyrocketed.
I love everybody that comes out of that gym. Honestly, that gym is going to be the next big thing.
Absolutely. PFL 5, it goes down tonight. Brian Foster, who we spoke with, we're going to play the interview in a little bit here. He was supposed to headline this for undisclosed reasons. He has some kind of minor injury that's going to take him out of this, but hopefully he'll get a chance to compete in the next PFL because everybody wants to see him fight in the playoffs. Hopefully that works out. We'll run through the main card here, quickly give our picks. The new main event is going to be Nathan Schulte versus Jason High. I'm going to go Jason High. He got robbed in his last fight in Illinois, and I think he's going to really try to prove a point here.
I think I'm going to go with you as well. He did get robbed, and I think we had a very long conversation about that situation, but I'm going to go with him as well. I think he's going to bounce back.
Then you have Vinny Magalhaes and Brendan Halsey. Love Brendan Halsey. Love what he's doing. I just think Vinny Magalhaes' jiu-jitsu is going to be the difference in this. I'm going Vinny.
Wow, I was going to go with Halsey, man. Oh,
you
wow.
can go Halsey.
I am absolutely a fan of this guy. He is very, very fun. I've only seen him fight a couple times, but he is just super, super awesome.
You have Rashid Magomedov, a UFC veteran, going against Luis Firmino. You know, Firmino is all heart. It was just as we saw against Will Brooks in Chicago, but Magomedov is just on another level. I'm going to go Magomedov.
I don't bet against anybody with a last name Magomedov. That's just, I don't do that. If your name is too hard to pronounce, I'm not going against you. You scare me.
Then you have Will Brooks, Robert Whaley. I'm going Will Brooks. Although, you know, Robert Whaley did look good in his last fight. I just think Will Brooks has found that little something that was missing when he was in the UFC.
Will Brooks looks like the old Will Brooks, which I'm very happy about. I'm going to go with him. Did he unblock you?
Not yet, no. So we mentioned Brian Foster was supposed to be the headliner on this PFL event. Hopefully he gets a chance to run it back in the next event because he is, I think, one of the favorites to win the lightweight money. Here's our conversation with Brian Foster. I want to welcome Brian Foster to the show. 28-10, a lightweight. Damn, did you look good in PFL 2 in Chicago earlier this year, brother.
Yeah, man. To correct you, I'm actually 34-10. There's like 5 fights that are on my record.
Oh, okay. I apologize. For that, man.
Man. I wish the hell they put them on there, though. It makes it look a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. Why wouldn't they put the 5 on there? I mean, 35 and 10.
They're from Mexico, man. So like 2000 sometime, I won like an international tournament down in Mexico, and none of those fights made it on my record.
Really? That doesn't make much sense, man. Were those fights just as tough as any other fight you've ever had, right?
Oh yeah, one of them was a decision. There's not a decision. I've only got one decision on my record as it is, but I've been to 3 decisions, and one of them was with Bobby Volker, who fought in UFC a long time ago, and then one was a German dude named Michel Erdinch, and that isn't on there either. But they were all finishes, man. Or not all finishes, but they were all wins. You know what I mean? And not only that, but the one in Mexico was a $100,000 tournament. You figured they would have heard about that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. We're going to have to correct that, man. We're going to have to make a push to correct that because that doesn't make much sense at all, man. But the fact remains the same. In my book anyway, you got to be one of the favorites here to win the $1 million, man. I know that you would never look that far ahead. I know that, one fight at a time is the way to go. But have you allowed yourself to think what you would do with the money if, in fact, you did win it?
I mean, man, I got kids. You know what I mean? All the money that I make throughout this whole process, it just does nothing but help us live a little bit more securely. You know what I mean? I wasn't raised with a bunch of money or rich or pampered. You know what I mean? So any kind of money that I can make to help my kids better their futures, that's pretty much what it's all about, man. So to say what I would do with the money is I would put it where it's always meant to go with my babies, man. You know what I mean? No. College and shit like that. So I mean, and it doesn't matter if it's this tournament or if it's that tournament. I'm not going to stop fighting until I accomplish my goal of being a world champion, man. So if the money's there, the monies will be there. But I do know the opponents are there every time. They put them in front of me, and I knock them down as they do.
I hear you, man. I mean, I'm 37. I have 2 of my own. I have a girl that's 12, and my boy's turning 7 on Monday. So I feel you on that, man. It's all
Happy
about
early
family.
birthday, man.
I appreciate it, man. It's all about family. As you get older, I'm 37, you're 34. So, as you get older, you really do start to appreciate that shit more. And that's really what it's all about. But being 34, man, do you feel like you're just now, like, really hitting your physical stride, like your peak?
No, man. I mean, going to 55, there's a lot more attributes I have to offer as far as, my size and my strength and my agility and stuff like that. But I feel like that, at 70, I always dealt with, the bigger dudes and the cardiovascular side of it, trying to muscle around these big dudes. To be honest with you, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, man. Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to say it, man. I've found my cardio, like, on a different level since moving to Colorado and getting with, Mark Montoya and Factory X and those guys and finding out what capabilities my body can actually provide. You know what I mean? Like, when you're a kid, you don't really necessarily go into the scientific side of things. You don't really break it down properly. You're just eager to get in there and show everybody you're a badass. You know what I mean? But it's like, with the higher level, like I've always wanted to be at, it takes experience in knowing these things and being able to break them down and understand what your body can what your body can actually do. So to answer your question, man, I'm not I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely look like it, man. I mean, that fight with Ramsey, man, that was, in my opinion, that was the fight of the night. That was just nonstop action, both you guys. But going back to what you said, man, I mean, just the fact that you competed against John Fitch, John Fitch is a big 170, and I mean, you rocked him. You nearly finished that. So I mean, just the fact that you not only competed at 170, but you excelled at 170, dropping down to 155, man. You are an absolute handful. You mentioned Factory X. Has that been like a shot in the ass or a kick in the ass, like to rejuvenate you?
Yeah, man. I mean, Pro Fight League, World Series fighting, Hyphen, whatever, World Series, they brought me in, man, and they gave that heartbeat back to my career. With all the stuff 2010 with the brain and stuff like that everybody wanted to hit on for a long time. A lot of promotions were scared to touch me, but they knew how talented I was. So when World Series Fighting took a chance on me and they got me cleared, they did all the proper testing and sent me to the right doctors. They're the ones that reignited that fire, man, and they gave me that piece of interest in that flame again that says that, I still have a chance to be the best and it's not over until I say it's over, So really the flame and the fire comes from those guys, man. And then the appreciation can't be sold enough outside of me performing for them. You know what I mean? I'm going to give everything I got to these guys because they believed in me and they pulled me in and, they brought me back. So, and then Factory X getting out there with those guys when everything came to fruition, man, it was a double down. You know what I mean? And like, why have I not been here my entire life kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck have I been doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So everything happens when it's supposed to. It's a weird thing, but it really is true. And, being at Factory X, man, who are some of the guys that you get to roll around with on a regular basis? I know Anthony Smith has a big fight coming up, but is he a little too big for you to roll with?
Oh, no, hell no, man. Me and Anthony, we roll around. I scramble. I keep him on point as far as the catching the quicker guy. You know what I mean? Big, strong dude. Absolutely incredible athlete. You know what I mean? Like we're full of the guys up there like that, man. We got Marcus Edwards. He hadn't been in it for a little while, but he's up there. We got Dustin Jacoby. We got Austin Jones. You'll be hearing a lot about him. One of my main training partners right now is Devontae Smith, who fights on the Dana White's Contender Series.
Brandon Royval.
I want to say.
Yeah, Brandon Royval. You guys got a lot of good guys over there.
Oh, dude, we got some studs, man. Like I could go all day. You know what I mean? And it's just it's placing yourself among that kind of talent that helps you realize your capabilities. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a super common thing nowadays. People always kind of say it, but steel really does sharpen steel. I mean, you're not going to get better unless you push yourself and train with better guys, right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%, man. To be the best, you got to train with the best. To beat the best, you got to train with them just the same.
Absolutely true, man. Are you going to be watching on Thursday here when Lance Palmer and Andre Harrison go back to work?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'll be watching them all, dude. I'm a big fight fan, dude. So it's not something that's like you contribute to being my job. You know what I mean? Because I'm a huge fan of this shit. So anytime I get a chance to watch my teammates put it down, dude, it's just. And not only that, but then they do. I mean, our record as a team shows it speaks volume, dude. You know what I mean? And like when I watch them guys win, it's like I know it works. It's a proven formula that they've structured in Factory X, man. It doesn't come down to one individual coach. It comes down to every bit of the team. You know what I mean? Everybody playing their part and busting their ass, man. And then these guys go in and they fight, and it just shows through, dude. It's amazing to sit back and watch my teammates accomplish things that like they hold on to what I say because of my experience level and my longevity in the game. So to be able to tell these guys and them react to it and then go out and see them accomplish that shit and man, it just fuels it in me. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You guys they're definitely building something really special, man. Really special there at Factory X. Well, I truly appreciate you doing this, Brian. I want to give you some time to shout out your sponsors, coaches, whatever you want, man.
Hey, man, I love everybody. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody and everything. All the fans, my friends, my family, my teammates, dude. There's so many awesome people that I could go on and on and on and on and think all day long, man. But at the end of the day, it's like I love everybody and I appreciate everybody for everything they do for me, man. Especially the fans that tune in and check it out because it's going down, dude. August 2nd, NBC Sports Network. If you haven't seen me fight, I promise you right now, if you tune in and watch me, give me a chance. I'll win your heart too, man.
No doubt about that, man. I think you're one of the most exciting fighters in the world, not just on PFL. Anytime you step in the cage, you mean business and you look to finish. Thank you for your time, man, and I'd look forward to speaking with you hopefully before August 2nd.
Hey, brother, anytime, man. You need anything, let me know.
All right, there you go.
I want that dude in this tournament so bad.
Yeah, I think he is. Man, he's talking about one of the most violent guys in that weight class. I definitely think he is in the running for it. He swings to finish the fight every time he throws a punch. Very cool guy, too. So, Apollo, Bellator 204 is actually shaping up to be a pretty solid card. It's going to be in South Dakota. I will be there. The co-main event is going to pit two of the show's friends, Logan Storley against one of your favorite people we've ever had on the show, AJ Matthews.
Oh, man, this dude is so awesome.
This is going to be an incredible fight, Apollo. I really believe that Logan Storley has the wrestling to just ground AJ down and pound him out, but I also believe AJ has the stand-up to knock Logan out. So this is going to be a very interesting and fun fight. I can't wait to watch it unfold. I'll be there covering it.
I will not be making a pick.
You don't have to make a pick. We're not making picks right now, but we did have a chance to catch up with Logan Storley, and we will be speaking with AJ in just a matter of days too. So we'll have that on the next one. But here's our conversation with Logan Storley. I want to welcome back Logan Storley to the show again. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not too much. Just relaxing, getting ready for another workout.
Well, I appreciate you doing this, man. This is your third time on the show, and every time I get to speak with you, man, it just seems like you improve between your fights more than the average fighter, in my opinion, man. You just look phenomenal every time out. This time, you get a co-main event spot in your own backyard against a very tough AJ Matthews. What is that going to mean to you?
I mean, it's exciting. I have lots of friends from the South Dakota area, and then I have all my Minnesota teammates, and then I got the South Dakota State wrestling. So between the Minnesota Gopher team and the South Dakota State guys, and so it's exciting. It's really exciting, and I just get to go out there and compete in front of my friends and family, and that's always exciting.
For sure. I can't wait, man. It's going to be a very entertaining fight. I'm actually going to be there covering this one as well. So your last fight at 197 I was at too, and you dominated Joaquin Buckley for pretty much the entire fight on your way to a unanimous decision. This time around, AJ is going to present a little bit different of a challenge to you. What changes have you made at camp specifically for AJ?
Everyone has a different presents different challenges. Buckley was a big, strong, explosive kid who, in previous fights had a lot of power in his hands, and was an athletic kid that could wrestle. And AJ's more polished with his striking, I would say, and he's been around the game for a long time, and so. More experience, more veteran, and he throws leg kicks. He throws a lot of combos. So those things are things that we've really taken into consideration. But you don't go away from who you are, no matter who you're fighting. And so that's one thing. Each fight is just about improving small little details. And so, we've definitely watched film on AJ, and we'll make the right changes that we need to, and we'll go from there.
Well, I know you will, man. I mean, your strength, of course, being your wrestling. You're a 4-time NCAA All-American, and your striking is coming along very nicely too. You've been working with Hard Knocks 365 and Henry Hooft, right?
Yep, correct.
Your striking has been coming along leaps and bounds, but as you said, your wrestling will always be, your bread and butter. Man, you're only 25 years old. You're gonna be 26 in September, and of course, Bellator is doing this big welterweight tournament. Have there been talks to maybe keep you around as like a reserve in case one of these guys get hurt?
It was kind of it's weird timing, how it all kind of happened, because I was in the middle of fight camp, and all of a sudden I heard about this tournament. And so, I've heard different things about the money and the everything else. And obviously it's the best guys in Bellator. But for me, it doesn't really matter. The thing that I'm most worried about is August 17th. And so that's just your mindset when it comes to wrestling, is you worry about what's in front of you first. You don't become the NCAA champ or the Olympic champ or whatever by worrying about who you're going to face in the finals. You worry about your first round. You worry about what's next. It's week to week. And so that's what I'm worried about, is August 17th, and I'll take care of business there. And then we'll see what the future holds. But, that's just how I've always went about things, is you take care of what's in front of you first.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. That is a very pragmatic attitude to take, especially in fighting. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. But assuming everything goes your way here in your next fight against AJ, in 2017 you got 3 fights in. So, permitting no big injuries with this one coming up, would you like to get one more fighting at the end of the year?
Yeah, we have to look at things. I fought kind of back to back a little bit there, and was coming off, had a little injury and took care of that. So the biggest thing is just feeling healthy and improving. So if there's something that makes sense and we can fit it into the schedule before the end of the year, that definitely wouldn't be upset about that. And so, but that's in the future once again.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Well, man, best of luck to you, man. You're one of the most, I believe you're truly one of the most exciting young fighters that Bellator has in total, not just in the welterweight division. I'd like to give you a few minutes to shout out your coaches, friends, sponsors, whatever you'd like, man. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to my sponsors, American Ethanol and Sanford Health, 8-Man Apparel, and Webster Scale, McGuire Iron. They've always had my back, so without those guys, it's hard to do what we do. And then I also want to thank Hard Knocks 365 with Henry Hoof, Kami Barzini, Greg Jones, and Robbie Lawler.
Well, I appreciate your time, Logan. I will be there in South Dakota, and you might be the co-main event, but I have a feeling that you are going to get easily the loudest pop of the night, my friend.
Yeah. I'm hoping to give them something to cheer about. So.
Well, I know you will. You always bring your A game, and I look forward to meeting you again. And best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, there you go.
By the way, Logan Storley, you are one of my friends too, and one of my favorite fighters too. Don't worry. Just AJ Matthews is my spirit animal.
UFC 227.
Yes, this card is amazing.
Pretty solid.
I don't care what anybody says. I've been hearing mad people talking mad smack about this card. What are you talking about? Just the 2 fights alone. Cody Garbrandt versus TJ Dillashaw, Dalla Billashaw.
The main event and the co-main event are very good by anyone's standards.
It's amazing.
Well, other than that, though, the main card is kind of weak. I can see how people are saying that. There is a couple undercard fights that really pique my interest because I'm an MMA nerd. But, we're going to run through and give our picks here briefly for the main card, but just hear me out. Of course, you have the Dillashaw-Garbrandt fight. Then you have Cejudo going against DJ for the title. But then after that, you have Cub Swanson, Renato Carneo, which is a great fight.
When has Cub Swanson ever been in a boring fight?
But then you have Viana going against JJ Aldrich, and then Thiago Santos against Kevin Holland. It's kind of weak. That's the main card.
Yeah, it's not the greatest card in the world. I'm not going to sit here and act like it is.
But the 2 title fights are carrying this card, and I'm super excited for it. Let's get into it, man. Let's pick these fights. We have TJ Dillashaw,
Dalla Billashaw
going against Cody No Love Garbrandt. I'm going TJ Dillashaw. It was no fluke. I truly think he is one of the best 135ers in the world.
And 125.
Could be 125 too. I don't know if he could make the weight or not. That remains to be seen. But yeah, man, TJ Dillashaw, I don't think he did anything wrong by switching camps. Guys do that all the time. Uriah Faber got butthurt, and he used Cody Garbrandt because, let's face it, Cody Garbrandt isn't the brightest star in the sky.
Nah.
Nor is he the sharpest knife in the drawer. So I do believe that Uriah might have played him to fight his battle for him. And, TJ Dillashaw is way above that. So I believe Dillashaw is a better fighter and has a way better intellect. So I'm going to go Dillashaw.
Cody Garbrandt is the type of fighter when you look at it, he's just pure talent. He is very, very good fighter. Hits like a Mack truck, and he's fast, and he's just very, very talented. But TJ Dillashaw, Dalla Billashaw, is one of the greatest 135-pounders I have ever seen in my life. With his mixture of kickboxing and Muay Thai and his ability to wrestle, he is the greatest 135-pounder ever. I cannot see Cody Garbrandt beating him unless he can somehow clip him like he did in the first fight and actually put him out. But he didn't put him out last time, and I don't think he's going to put him out again. I think TJ Dillashaw has too many weapons. I don't think Cody Garbrandt has everything that he needs to be able to defeat Dalla Dillashaw.
Then you have the other title fight, Demetrius Johnson going against Henry Cejudo. When DJ beat Henry Cejudo the very first time, I said to myself, Henry Cejudo is going to be the guy to beat him. And here we are. It's set up perfectly. I believe that Henry Cejudo is going to beat Demetrius Johnson and become the new flyweight champion of the world.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, wow, you are the boldest man I've ever seen. You make a huge point. There's something special about Henry Cejudo. There's something special. He is a beast. He has upped his game tremendously in the 2 years since they fought. But I don't bet against DJ. And also, this is a little selfish. I'm picking Mighty Mouse because I really want the fight against TJ. So I'm going to go with Mighty Mouse out of selfish reasons.
Yeah, I just think Cejudo's going to win. I think it's his time. And I don't know. I don't really bet against DJ ever, as we talked about earlier. But I just... Something about DJ, I don't know if he is in it the same as he was 5 years ago. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Then you have Cub Swanson going against Renato Carneiro. This is a very good fight that I don't think is getting nearly as much publicity as it should. Cub Swanson, he's been working with the new training guys, Juan Archuleta, TJ Dillashaw. Ever since they started working with that guy, Sam Calavito, all of their careers have just peaked. It's incredible. Having said that, I believe Carneiro is going to beat him. I just don't think Swanson is as good as he used to be.
I'm not going to count Swanson out because I've counted him out several times, and for some reason, he just keeps coming back. But when was the last time you seen Cub Swanson in a boring fight, whether he lost or won? I don't think I have. So this is going to be an exciting fight. I'm going to go with Cub Swanson.
Then you have Viana versus Aldridge. Decent little woman scrap here. I'm going to go Viana. I just don't think Aldridge is UFC quality.
This one is hard for me to even remotely judge because I've only seen Viana fight once. She is definitely a solid fighter at the strawweight division. I've never seen JJ fight, so I'm going to go with Viana, someone I'm familiar with, but I have no clue, honestly.
And then Thiago Santos going against Kevin Holland. Again, this is main card fights, guys. I'm going to go with Thiago Santos because I just believe he hits harder.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Thiago Santos, too. I think he just hits like a Mack truck. You know what? Actually, now that I'm saying this card out loud, it's not that awesome.
No, it's kind of weak, but the two title fights do carry it in a big way. Also want to give shout outs to Ricky Simone and Jose Shorty Torres fighting on the undercard. We wish them the best of luck as well.
Derek Bronson's on this guy? Oh, that guy canceled. Never mind.
It's time